All right, welcome back. It's been a while since the last video, and that was largely due to some difficult family times that came up. Our English Bulldog of 10 years passed away. He was a great dog. You'll be missed, Hugo. And we had my wife's grandfather passed away. So it's been a lot going on. In our last video, we used a single Vacudog to hold down this piece. We did a narrow cut, and then we did a wider cut, and it held amazing, didn't budge at all. Then we talked about that in the next video, we would test cutting out some cabinets. Now, because I don't want to waste an entire sheet of plywood and have it mess up at some point, potentially, I wanted to do a single like half sheet and then one that I've just kind of got as a wasteboard. So I'm going to cut this second section over here, and I'm actually doing a very small mini cabinet if you want to think of it that way. So it's basically 12 inches on a side, a little bit less so that it'll all fit in one long strip. That'll give me my 4 sides. And then it'll also be cut for a notch to put in 1/4 inch in the back. And this is 3/4 inch that we'll be cutting through today. Considerably thicker than the cedar we were cutting through last time. So next I'll cut through that. To draw up these boxes, I used Easel Cabinet Maker. They have a free version and they have a pro version. The pro version is like $30 a month, which might not be much to everybody else out there, but is more than I want to spend right now. The free version is great. It lets you design up a cabinet, not a whole bunch of cabinets, but design up a cabinet. The downside is, and they don't tell you this, the only bit that it'll let you use is a 1/4 inch bit. That's it. So I'll be using a 1/4 inch compression bit today to cut through the plywood and make all the cuts for the cabinet. And today we'll be using the Jenny by Cadence Manufacturing. It's compression bit instead of the Downtown Jenny, which is a down cut bit. There's very little difference in the two bits and all your settings. The compression bit runs at 18,000 RPMs. This one runs at 16,000 RPMs, the Downtown Jenny. The only other difference between the two is the plunge rate. The compression bit plunges at 75 inches per minute and the Downtown Jenny plunges at 60 inches per minute. All right, so next I've got a piece of plywood sitting on the work surface, but I need to make sure that all of the Vacudogs are set up and everything's positioned in the right place, so let's do that next. Probably one of the most challenging things here is to make sure that your gaskets aren't where there are going to be cuts made. I'm going to be making 4 different cuts. I believe that these aren't in spots where they will be cut. I'll do one last check before I put the plywood down. So here's how we've got it set up for testing. The only ones that are actually working are this one and this one. Everything else is just laid out here so that we can have support and hopefully the plywood won't move. We're only going to be cutting in really a 1 foot by 4 foot space, but we'll be laying down a piece of used plywood I have that will be 4 foot by 4 foot with really a 4 foot by 2 foot space that's usable. Okay, so now we've got all of the Vacudogs in place, all the gaskets in place. I've got the gasket rubber tubing into my groove. So the next thing to do is to give it a test and see if we can push on it, see if it'll move at all. So now that we have everything set up, we're gonna turn on the vacuum pump. Let it start to build some compression and then push on this. Oh man. Yeah, I don't think that, I don't think that's going anywhere. So again, I only have 2 set up, one on each end, and hopefully I've got everything positioned well and we can start our cut. Okay, so that was super fun. Turns out that Easel Cabinet Maker has some settings where it basically offsets the safe distance is 3 millimeters, 3.85 or something like that. Anyway, so it's not spinning up the tool, it's not commanding the coolant lines to flood. Super interesting. I ended up like digging through everything. Is there something wrong with my coolant lines? What's happening? So it's a while later now. Let's go ahead and give this another shot. We've loaded the new file. It's ready to roll. We're gonna rewind. We're gonna start the vacuum pump. Go to work origin, we're there. And then let's try cycle start. All right, now we've got coolant flooding like it's supposed to, spindle spinning up like it's supposed to. It did a great job. I didn't see it budge at all. Everything worked great. Let's get these tabs cut off and pull them out and we'll take a look at them. Whew, that was awesome. I really don't know what to say. Fantastic job, Vacudog. Amazing. And this is with no glue. And that's because we can use blind dados and for building cabinets on the CNC. That's something I was really interested in, was that technique, and it worked out flawlessly. This is brilliant. Lines up amazingly. The Vacudogs did their job incredibly. Nothing budged. So one of the things that I didn't account for was bowing of the plywood on the edges. What ended up happening was I didn't put any of the support discs on the outside either way. I put them all across the inside to make sure that it didn't get sucked down too hard or didn't bow down in the middle, because that was the bigger span. It turns out that I should have put some on the outside. What that ended up causing was some of the wood, in fact I can pull this apart and then show you. You can see it here. So I had to use my oscillating tool to trim a little bit here, and you can see that everywhere else the edges are perfectly smooth, but right here where I had to trim because the CNC didn't go all the way through, and the reason it didn't go all the way through, it was bowed down. Since it was bowed down, the tool didn't make it quite as far. Now that's an easy fix, right? Just put those pads out farther, the support pads, and you're set. Honestly, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't use the Vacudogs. I couldn't. Man, I pushed, I couldn't budge it. I'm using 1/4 inch end mill at its full feed rate and didn't push it at all. I didn't pull back on feed rate. I didn't pull back on plunge depth. It just did amazingly. It just crushed right through it. Nothing budged. Vacudogs, great job. Hats off. Incredible job. Highly recommend. That was using 2 Vacudogs. Eventually, I hope to be cutting an entire sheet of plywood. If I'm cutting an entire sheet of plywood, I've got 4 set up, but I don't have a splitter system set up for 4. That would be the next thing I would do. With 4, I think you'd be set. You just want to make sure you've got your pads laid around so that way things don't move. I mean, you might be able to get away with 2, put on like the corners maybe, and have that keep any movement. I mean, really, it was held down really, really solid. I haven't tried a 1/2 inch end mill. I haven't tried, 3/8 inch end mill yet. We'll see what happens when we get to that. The only other thing that I can think of is the Easel program. It does some, obviously if you watch the tool paths, it wasn't the most optimized. I don't know that that really matters all that much. I mean, I'm not a pro cabinet shop. I'm just cutting some cabinets, but it did some weird things where it would like cut through and then just come back within the cut and then go down and cut again. Since it's cutting a straight line, I don't know why it wouldn't cut down, go in, cut down, come back, go, cut down, and just cut down each path. Potentially, it could be that you want it cutting a certain direction while you're traveling along your good face. Maybe that's why it was happening. It was also doing an interesting thing where it would cut these pockets. So it would cut one pass in this pocket, cut, and then come up, go over, come down, cut, come up, go over, come down, cut. When it could just go cut, and just skip this back and forth thing. I don't know why it's doing that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. It did a great job on tabs. It did a great job on everything else. Everything's just cut perfectly. I'd love to get a look at the Easel Pro tool and see what they've got going on there. Anyway, thanks everybody. Hope you have a good one and highly recommend the Vacudogs.